Welcome to this week's St. Clair County Board of Commissioners meeting. The types of business that occur at these meetings include public hearings, official voting on actions by the Board of Commissioners, presentations by departments of the county, and recognition of service that makes our county great. As your elected representatives, the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners is committed to improving the lives of all our residents while preparing county government to meet the demands of the future. In order to do that, we need to share our thoughts and plans with you. More importantly, we need you to share your thoughts, concerns, and opinions with us. We encourage you to come and experience the process by attending any of these meetings. They occur every first and third Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. at the St. Clair County Administration Building at 200 Grand River Avenue in Port Huron. They're expired. Yeah.
I'd like to call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Judiciary and Public Safety Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tamian, Commissioner Heidemann,
Here.
Commissioner Bohm,
Here.
Commissioner Dunn,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Graytop,
Here.
Commissioner McConnell.
Here. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Got ahead of it there.
Thank you. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
I would move that we consider the corrections grant application for final action and the community corrections grant agreement for final action and under 7B and C.
Support?
We have motion and support. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Motion to approve
carries.
the agenda as amended.
Support? We have motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, citizens wishing to be heard. Is there anybody here to talk about judiciary and public safety? Seeing none. Any updates? Yes.
Just wanted to bring to the board's attention how well things are going over at the Intervention Academy. We're looking at reading scores coming in at 6.3 and going out at 8.7. Math scores coming in at 5.7 and going out at 7.8. So there's some really nice steps up in what these kids are doing when they get in there. We've recovered a total of 2,000 and some odd number of credits. We've earned an additional 43 credits, 39 high school diplomas, and that's something that we didn't always do and we now do. So 39 diplomas, not GEDs, but actual diplomas from their schools. We've got GEDs for adults of 485 and, I can't read red on gray. I think it's 89 juveniles. So that's since the inception of this program. So they're doing very, very well over there.
Thank
And
you.
they need some kudos.
I have one just clarification. Those academic gains in reading and math, what time frame was that over? Did they give that?
Just says 2018, 2009 school year, so it must be for the year.
For the year? But going up 2 and 3 grade levels?
Yeah,
Pretty
I think we've
incredible.
seen that pretty regularly every year. It seems to be almost 2 grade levels, between 1.5 and 2.5 grade levels almost every year we see those figures, so.
Good. Anybody else? Thank you. Conceptual initiatives? Seeing no old business. Under new business, item 7A, the fiscal year 2019 Michigan Mental Health Court Grant Program Agreement.
Make a motion, we send that on to the full board.
Support.
Second?
We have motion and support. Does anybody have any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7B, Commissioner Graytop.
Not yet, soon.
You have items B and C. I cannot call for a motion? Is
I have
that-
7C.
I would move the approval of the 2019 Community Corrections Grant application for final action.
Second. We have Motion and support. Is this a roll call? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Yes.
Commissioner Bohm,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner Greatap,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I move the 2019 Community Corrections Grant Agreement for final action.
Can I read this into the agenda? I've got one here that's written out, Howard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. I'd like to move that as a committee of the whole for final action to approve the Community Corrections Grant Agreement for a term of 10/1/18 through 9/30/19 in the amount of $180,101, and to receive quarterly updates for funding for the program.
Support.
We have motion and support. That also needs a roll call.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Yes.
Commissioner Bohm,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing,
Yes.
Commissioner Greatap,
Yes?
Commissioner McConnell.
Yes. Are there any other judiciary and public safety matters at this time? Anyone? Motion to receive and file? So moved.
Second?
Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Motion to adjourn?
So move we adjourn.
Support. Thank you very much. Some people come in and make a grand statement. You were waiting outside, weren't you, just to walk in? I was. On deck, Carl Tavian.
Slow, though.
Must have been putting his absentee ballot in.
Pardon me?
Your absentee ballot.
No, that's not what I was doing.
No, he was locking his
So
bike up.
where are we?
You're up.
You're up.
I'm up. Have we had the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, sir. Public
All right.
safety did it tonight.
Okay. So, are there any additions or deletions to the Human Services Committee agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Who's here? We have to do a roll call.
Commissioner McConnell,
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Here.
Commissioner Bohm,
Here.
Commissioner Dunn,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Greatap,
Here.
Commissioner Tamian.
I'm here. Are there any citizens to be heard this evening for Human Services matter? I don't have any cards in front of my place here, so next we have updates. Michigan State.
Make a motion, we take 4A and make it 7C,
Support.
or we don't need to do that?
No, you
That's
don't.
just an update, I'm
It's just
sorry.
an update.
I'm out of
That
order.
motion's denied.
I am out of order.
You are out of order.
But the sergeant of ours is keeping quiet.
We do have an update from the Michigan University Cooperative Extension Service.
Thank you, Commissioners. I will not take you through the long report that you have in front of you, so you should be pleased with that. Assuming it's the arrow keys here. Jerry Johnson, I'm District Director. They did change our title. They did not change our pay. District Director for District 10, which is the 5 counties of the thumb. I want to talk to you about what we've done in the last year. It may have been a while since you've seen a report, but hopefully you'll be seeing them a lot more frequently. You know that Michigan State University Extension's divided up. It's really a matrix organization, so we're divided up geographically into our 14 districts, which make up our 83 counties, and also educationally. So on the right, you can see we have institutes. We have health and nutrition, children and youth, which would include 4-H, agriculture and agribusiness. Big deal in the thumb. I mean, thumb cash receipts for ag are about $1.5 billion, so it's big business. St. Clair would be the smallest of the 5 counties, a little under 100 million, but still it's big business in the thumb, and that money, a lot of that money stays here. And then Greening, Michigan, which would be sustainable communities, fit, tourism, et cetera, working with businesses on entrepreneurial ventures. Thank you, first of all, I guess, Commissioners, for investing generously with us last year toward the goal of equipping our citizens to, live better lives and be better at home and at work and in the community. some numbers that you would probably see on the cover of your report. We've been serving St. Clair County for over 100 years. Last year we had nearly 28,000 website visits, 80% first-time visitors. We think that can become a pretty powerful tool. Extension website hits are higher than Michigan State University website hits. $60,000 in spending with St. Clair County businesses, almost 350 St. Clair County youth enrolled at Michigan State. We invested $6.4 million in financial aid for St. Clair County residents that are attending Michigan State. 2,044 MSU alumni are in St. Clair County, maybe 10 or so in this room today. And we have $18.5 million impact on St. Clair County. That's not a number that a professor calculated in a room, and not a number that I did in my office. That's done by the Anderson Economic Group. It's updated every few years, and it's commissioned by the research university. So Michigan, Michigan State, Wayne State commission this study every 2 to 3 years to develop and identify the impact. So big impact here locally. Our local office, we have our staff you see in front of you, Leanne Allen, Joe Bixler, Lori Brockdorf, Carol Bublitz, Jennifer McNamara, Andy Northrup, Janine Schweihofer, Christy Suter, and Lori Warchuk. Some of these folks have statewide assignments or region-wide assignments. So Dr. Schweihofer, she is a statewide meat quality expert. So we do get a benefit of having her in our office, but she has a statewide assignment. Andy Northrup has statewide responsibilities for tourism. And then some other folks, if they're an educator, they have regional that falls outside of St. Clair County. There's a lot of other staff that support our county. You can see a few of them here, whether it's in shooting sports, coastal community development, Sea Grant, food safety. We've got a lot of folks that help support. Matter of fact, our beef educators are all doing an event up in the Thumb tonight, and that's why they could not be here. So updates in some of the different areas. Ensuring strong communities. We did something, I think a lot of you have heard about the FIT, and there was a program that started called First Impressions. And what we did is Michigan turned that into, and through extension, something to include tourism. And so we went from FI to FIT. And so this has been going on for a couple of years. And Andy Northrup is the point on this. And we partner with Prosperity Region 6. Some of the communities that we've already done studies on include Elkton, Imlay City, Marlette, and Sebring. This year, Marine City and Cass City are on the agenda. So those have already kicked off. So they've really been met. We really had good reception for these. I've been stopped by some other counties, even where the commissioners can be cold towards things, and they've said they really enjoyed this and got a lot out of it as far as what they can do to enhance tourism, what a new set of eyes sees when they come into your community. This county, obviously, I think is a little more progressive than my others as far as tourism and economic development. So the benefit here may not be as large as the other four, but we still think there's value there. There's also a food policy council that's just being established now. We had a small grant, and that's really to deal with food insecurity. I'm out of the food industry. 40% of food is wasted. It never never gets consumed. And if we can manage that in an efficient manner, get it where it needs to be, we can feed folks that can't afford to get it otherwise. Natural assets. Sea Grant, we did do programming in the Thumb last year. This is an area, quite frankly, I'm not very happy with. So when I'm at Michigan State, I'm always complaining because I said I have the most shorefront and the least support. So I mean, we'll get more, but I think we should be doing programming all summer, all up and down our coast. But we did host, 4 Lake Huron regional fisheries workshops in 2018. Lots of 300 attended these events, and in 2017, again, 4 Lake events in some different cities. So that's valuable, but I'm a little jealous of what we get down in Lake St. Clair and the Detroit River as far as Sea Grant participation. So I hope to have better news for you next year in this area. Supporting food and agriculture, again, agriculture is big business here. Every year we have a Thumb Ag Day, and we did last year too, 5 locations in the Thumb, 220 folks attended it, from 10 counties. Do a lot with food safety training, this beef feedlot education. I've been out with Janine Schweihofer a few times. She does a Thumb Cattleman series from December to April. So they'll meet at a regional farm. Last one was in Sanilac County, and discuss issues, latest, greatest antibiotics, Happy cows provide more milk. So, we want to keep the animals happy. And so they've got usually veterinarians out there, pharmaceutical companies as well. So it's cutting edge type information. This year, our dairy educator, Marianne Booza, out of our Huron County office, did heat stress on dairy farms. We had 21 dairy farms in the Thumb participate where they had probes implanted for the summer, and they can measure different aspects of the cow's respiration and health based on temperature. And again, the goal is healthier cows, more milk, more productive. And if you're a dairy farmer this year, it's rough. It's rough business. I mean, prices are bad. We've had a lot of health issues. There's no doubt been some farmers that, have really entered into some dark depression, and there's even been a few suicides this year. So, Thumb Dairy Odyssey is an event that was actually started up in Huron County, but we invite other counties to it by kids. They said, hey, we're the largest dairy producing county in the state of Michigan, and there's no program to start, targeted at kids, so they started that. And we do a lot to prepare our youth for agricultural careers. Ensuring safe and secure food. I think 3,000 people or so a year die of food poisoning, and millions, and I forget the number, are affected each year. We've all dealt with food poisoning. It's not pleasant, but it is preventable. So reducing foodborne illness through education, serve safe manager training, maintaining the cold chain. If you watch Fox News this summer, you saw Lori Warchuk and Janine Schweihofer on Fox News showing everybody how to, cook food properly. And no, it doesn't. The color of the meat does not matter. It's only the temperature. It can be pink if it's hot enough, and if it's brown and not hot enough, you could still get sick. So anyway, they did a good job with the Fox show. And then we provide fact sheets as well. And if you even texted Safe Food to 797979, you'll get a weekly food safety update for free. Keeping people healthy, and I don't know if we have, there's Carol in the back. Hi, Carol. Carol Bublitz is here. She does a lot of work in this area. But with My Plate in St. Clair County, Carol's involved with SNAP education, and that's an evidence-based program that helps people to lead healthier lives. She's been very active with that. We do a lot of programming, especially this year, designed to address lead poisoning concerns, and spent a lot of time with Dr. Mercantant and others trying to do co-programming. The good news is, the bad news is there's lead everywhere. So it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter if you live by Mueller Brass. That's irrelevant. Most of the homes in this area have lead-based paint. So when you see people power washing their house in Carroll's community, you know there's going to be more lead because they're just introducing it into the environment. But most of this is preventable. If you eat right, if you do proper sanitation, if you, if pregnant moms have the right prenatal care, they can really minimize this. Later on, we have a slide. There's still a high percentage of kids that test positive for lead from 1 to 2 years old in all 5 of our counties, for those tested. I'm not going to say the number because I might get corrected by Dr. Mercantant. We did numerous local events at 4-H Fair Education, and we'll get into 4-H in a second, but I was really pleased to see all the work that Lori led in that area. This particular office for MSU Extension, they all have their own personality, and not unlike some of the things that happen in this community, this particular office, there's more there's more cross-programming in St. Clair County than the other 4 offices. And that's it's kind of indicative of what's going on here, right? With a lot of the blue meets green and everything else, there's a lot of collaboration here, and that's really effective. So it took me a while to even figure out what institute different people were in because they were always helping each other out. We participate in the Thumb Octagon Barn event, and there's, again, thousands, 1,500 youth up in that region. We were heavily supported there with our staff. Farm stress is a big issue, as we talked about a minute ago, and we do a lot of, we have educators that come down and do the stress less with mindfulness training. Chris Schwartzendruber out of our Tuscola office. And we do diabetes prevention. Thumb is very high for diabetes, very high for some other things too. 4-H. So in St. Clair County, we have 31,000 or so 5 to 19-year-olds. Of that, we have 6,200 that are in 4-H in one way or another. Either they're in a traditional club program, or they'll attend a one-time event, or a spin class, etc. So Our percentage is 19.9, which is actually, even though we're the largest county, it's the highest percentage of 4-H participants in the Thumb region, and it's among the higher percentages in the state. If you get in the UP or the upper lower peninsula, there 4-H runs the sports programs, so that's where you'll see the highest, because they don't have the money to run local sports programs, so 4-H does it. Again, not to be a contrarian, but that, this means we've got 25,000 kids that aren't involved with 4-H. We've got, 1 out of 30, 3% or whatever in a traditional club. We have 97% not in clubs. If we went to South Park and other areas, you will not see a lot of 4-H participation, and that's something we have to fix. We have a lot of volunteerism here, 286 adults, 87 youth. The value to the county, just based on IRS rates, is about $700,000. So your $70,000 investment in 4-H is, paid back more than tenfold, just in free volunteer hours that are provided. And I would argue that might be your highest return investment you make. This is just some of the 4-H activities. Again, you've got your book. I won't read through all of those. I will take 4-H Lake to Table, brand new this year. Lori Warchuk started that, where they've had farm to table, but they did lake to table, take the kids out, catch a fish, clean it, cook it, make sure it's the right temperature, and then eat it and don't get sick. A lot of camps that were organized. We had international exchange where Marine City's Shanna Kowalewski, if I pronounced that right, spent 8 weeks in Japan, and that was longer than any youth statewide. She was the only one that stayed in Japan for 8 weeks. And then you see some award winners up here. William Vincent won the Carl Kruckenborg Memorial Award. And then we have an essay contest, which was won by Troy Corns and Isabel Stull. So just some final slides here. Just taking a look at St. Clair County, youth at risk. 30% of our kids are one-parent families. 22% are eligible for child support payments. 70% of those get less than they're owed. 40% of children are eligible for a free lunch. 20% of our kids live in poverty. 45% of 1 to 2-year-olds tested will test high for lead. Oh, I have that number there, sorry. Is that close? This is from Kids Count Michigan. So in education, 54% of our 3 and 4-year-olds are not enrolled in preschool. 71% of our 8th graders are not proficient in math. 53% of our 3rd graders are not proficient in English. 68% of our students are not college ready. 14% of our students are in special education. And again, I'm not trying to end this on a downer note, but I'm not here to talk about what we did. I'm here to talk about what we can do and where we can partner. So St. Clair County General Fund, and I've tried to present this to every county, is a roughly $59 million. Is that close? You can correct me if I'm off, right? And I've taken another look at how counties spend their money, which is different than how maybe you categorize it. And there's 3 main categories. One's correctional, consequential, public safety, judicial, et cetera. Administrative, keeping the lights on, general government, legislative. And then one is developmental. And I lumped us selfishly into developmental, economic development, et cetera, would be lumped in there. If we look at the breakout, at the spend allocation there, correctional consequential, 61%, which is pretty much, actually that's the same percentage as, I think as Lapeer. Administrative, 37%, and then developmental, 2%. And understanding that schools have a role with kids and everything else, we all know if you deal with 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds, or you deal with 25, 26, and 27-year-olds, and that's a lot more difficult. And in meeting with all the county sheriffs, Tim Donlin today, and our Lapeer sheriff last week, they're just saying with this drug crisis, the education, this is their opinion, once they're on them, doesn't do a lot of good. So you really got to catch them before they start. So closing thoughts, I would just ask you, and I've asked our offices, are we winning, and are we investing to win, and what can we do better? And I'm looking for direction. Where can Michigan State do better? Where should we partner where we're not partnered today? Because I'm not here to sell you what we're doing today. I'm here to provide a service that's needed for St. Clair County. And I will tell you, as a result of this in some other counties, we got asked a week after our presentation in Huron County they want us to partner with Friend of the Court. They feel like they'll get a better investment if they have extension involved with Friend of the Court. I don't know what that looks like, but a couple of the commissioners cornered me and asked us to do that. I would ask you today, just if you have direction or things we can do better, you have my name and address and number, and let me know. We want to do better, but Thank you very much, and I'll take any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Jerry?
Jerry, you had mentioned somewhere along the line that you had gotten some grants to do a few things. Where do you get your grant money?
I'm not an expert on grants. Joe Bixler got one for the Food Policy Council, which I approved, and that's the only grant that I approved for submission. So I'm a bit dubious as to where all the. Now, we have approached, obviously, we've got the Ralph Wilson Foundation that Michigan State has worked with, although I'll tell you, St. Clair County and the city of Port Huron has been more successful than Michigan State thus far. I don't know if Michigan State has any, but that is a potential source, but only for St. Clair County because it ends there. You don't go north. So there's grant funding that would come, though, from the federal government. SNAP-Ed, that's grant funded. 21st Century, that was cut by 55% this year. So we had 9 schools, I believe, and we cut down to 4 this year. But what we're going to do, we're not giving up. What we decided to do is Lori Warchuk secured a grant from the Fair Board. We believe the 4-H Board is going to also give us a grant. And then this county, which I really like, has what's the proper term for it, incentive fund. If you don't spend all your budget, you build up money you can spend, and we actually have money built up there, so we are going to go into those schools, despite the fact that funding was cut. And we're going to promote 4-H more strongly in the schools because we're not bound by a grant. In this case, we can go back in. When we're with a grant, Carol can't decide what and how she's going to teach that class. It's very structured and rigorous to meet the criteria. She'll even, if I come in, she's even say, you can't say this word or that word. I mean, it's very structured. With what we're doing this year, we can be a little less structured.
Thank you, Jerry.
Are there any other questions? Jerry, I want to thank you. This has been one of the best reports from MSU that I can recall since I've been on the commission. I applaud what you've accomplished and your goals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go green.
What? I didn't hear that last thing.
Next on our agenda is conceptual initiatives from the commission. Seeing none, I see no old business. Under new business, we have the Health Department Staff Development Day, their request to be closed.
Motion to send it on to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have the Health Department Syringe Service Program. I don't know, Annette, if you'd like to address the commission tonight about this?
Make a motion, we send it on to the full board.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Please.
I just wanted to get it on the agenda so she could talk
Thank
about it.
you. Now, as you guys recall, I did give you the information a couple weeks ago. I hope you had a chance to review that. This program is amply supported by our data. St. Clair County has been selected by the state to receive these funds because of our disproportionate hepatitis C rate connected to our opiate crisis and our IV drug use. And the program is a win-win. It is not associated with increased use and significant decreases in disease transmission and people seeking recovery. So it is a win-win, and I would just thank you for your support. It is also, I'd like to say, broadly supported by all of our stakeholders, including our sheriff's department, our hospitals, our schools. And if you're interested in seeing our letters of support, I do have them available for you.
Commissioner Graytop.
Doctor, is there a privacy issue for the people coming in for this exchange program? And secondly, is there an age limit? Can you have younger kids coming in?
No, it'll be 18 and older.
Okay.
Okay? There won't be a privacy issue per se, because we're not prescribing anything or requiring names or locations. Obviously, we would want to make sure the service is available to someone who's homeless, someone who is, transient. So that would not be an issue. The issue of where to house this program is still being considered. We have some understanding that there may not be as great of comfort them wandering into a government building like the health department, and we have had some conversations about housing this in a recovery center in the community instead.
Any other questions or comments? Thanks, Annette.
Thank you.
So we've already voted to send this on to the full board. Are there any other human service matters to come before this committee this evening? Hearing none. For information only, we have the Health Department points of interest for October.
Motion
would
to receive and file.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to receive and file the packets.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you. I'd like to call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Environmental Public Works Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner McConnell,
Here.
Commissioner Tamian,
Here.
Commissioner Bohm,
Here.
Commissioner Dunn,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Greatop.
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Here. Are any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Citizens to be heard. Any citizens regarding environmental public works? Seeing none, we'll move on to updates from commissioners. Any updates from commissioners regarding environmental public works
Just a matters?
Um,
quick one, Howard. Couple people came and addressed the board maybe a month ago, perhaps, Dave. They were out in your area regarding a drain they had
Yeah.
gotten. So I set a meeting up with Bob Wiley and actually brought them in and two of their staff members, and he did a great job explaining how the process works, so on and so forth. Not necessarily what they wanted to hear, but, you know, to the point, because I think they got a $4,500 bill or so to, you know, get their dishes cleaned out. But there's state statutes in place, they took them, you know, they walked them right through everything from A to Z, reporting, so on and so forth. So I'd just like to give them a lot of credit for, you know, doing that, so.
Okay, any other items? Seeing none, we'll move on to any conceptual initiatives from administration.
None.
Moving on, no old business, we'll move on to new business. The first one is Resolution 1828, the 2018 Annual County at-Large Drain Assessment.
I make the motion to move this to the full board.
Support?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Item B, Columbus Playground Phase 2. Mark is here if you have any questions.
I'll make a motion to send this to the full board.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion?
Just a little bit. Mark already gave me a pretty good description of what's going on there. 3 of the 5 are on there that have asterisks on what we were given, and then the other 2 will be addressed at a later point. That should be marked Phase 3 on your sheet, but this covers 3 of them.
The 3 items in that are being considered require a crane to put them in position. That's why they're together. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. The Fort Gratiot Lighthouse Tower investigation.
Make a motion, we send it to the full board?
It's been moved and
Support?
supported. Any discussion? Bill?
Mark, when was the last time that we painted that tower? And I guess my question leads to this. We painted that tower after the brickwork was done, and it wasn't working right. We had somebody come out and redo it the proper way, and now looks like we're redoing it again. What's the life expectancy on a paint job on a tower like that?
Well, the indicator that we're responding to is it's only needs to be redone in certain areas. So the problem for lighthouses, the towers, are they're a moisture trap, and if you go in certain time, you can see, just walking the stairs, you can often feel a distinct temperature change, so the moisture is an ongoing issue with all lighthouses. The fact that the paint failure is only in certain area indicates that there's 2 walls in the lighthouse, an inner wall and an outer wall, and the inner wall cavity breathes and allows moisture to escape from the masonry. The suspicion is there are some kind of blockages in there that's not allowing the tower to breathe properly, and this investigation will help us figure that out. We've been spot painting it where our employees can reach the last couple years, and then it became apparent that we need to have professional architects that are familiar with historic buildings to come back. And in this case, Quinn Evans has been involved with the property early on with City of Port Huron and the museum doing the historic structures report for the property, which is the legal basis for our deed for the property. And they were involved with the lighthouse restoration when they re-bricked it. The brick part of it was caused in part by the bricks that were removed and replaced were not fired bricks, they were soft bricks. And so most of the problem was solved just by going from soft brick to hard brick. But the ongoing moisture problem behind the paint is the problem that we need to get a handle on.
Right. If I'm reading this right, we're looking at almost 28,000 for one part of it and 65 for another part of it?
No, that was phase two, what we already sent it before.
All right.
It's gonna be about a $11,000 bill for the engineering.
Yeah, for the lighthouse, it's just over 11.6.
11,600 for engineering.
For the investigation, yes, and recommendations on how to proceed with the solution. In truth in advertising, your policy calls for anything over $10,000 to be competitively bid, and I'm asking you to consider the fact that this is a unique problem, and we have an architectural firm that's already familiar with the property to go ahead and authorize us like a contract without soliciting multiple bids.
Any other questions for Mark? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you, Mark. The 2019 materials procurement for the landfill. Matt, are there any questions?
Make a motion, we send it to the full board.
Support?
It's been moved to send this full board. Any questions from commissioners? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Contract approval request for Paradigm Software LLC. This is
Make a motion
Motion
to
to move to the full board?
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported. This is for the amount $27,350. No? $8,400. Okay, I stand corrected. Oh, I see it. I put my marker in the wrong place. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Right now, we have a series of airport ground leases for the Air Industrial Park.
Or we can do all these at one time, corporate counsel just said, so I'm gonna make the motion for items F through J.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Yeah, they were all pretty much standard issue, weren't they?
Different names.
Resolution 1832, airport sponsor contract for rehabbing runway 422 lighting runway.
Make a motion to move the full board?
Support?
It's been moved. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Next on the list, we have the Smiths Creek Landfill Activities Report.
Motion to receive and file.
It's been moved and
Support.
supported. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Any other environmental or public works matters? Seeing none, any information only, the monthly Park and Recreation Commission financial documents.
I move they be received and filed.
Support?
It's been moved and supported. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. I guess there were no nay votes. Motion to receive and file packets regarding environmental
moved.
public works.
Support?
been made and supported. Motion has been made and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned. I'm sorry.
Wine 'em. This time I'd like to call the Ways and Means Committee to order. Would you have a roll call, please?
Hey, Matt?
Commissioner McConnell,
Here.
Commissioner Tamian,
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Here.
Commissioner Bohm. Here. Commissioner Dunn,
Here.
Commissioner Greatop,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here. Okay, I see we have an addition.
Chairman, I propose that we move item 2A to item 7H.
Support.
That'll be good, a closed session, we can
that's
piggyback it on
11B.
All right,
11B.
I'm sorry. Yep, go ahead that way then.
So we have closed session for collective bargaining and acquisition of property.
Correct.
We have the motion, do we have a second yet?
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Motion to
Okay, can I have
accept
a
the
motion to
agenda is
accept?
presented.
Support?
Any
As
discussion?
amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. This time, do we have any citizens wishing to be heard for the Ways and Means? Seeing none, we'll move to updates. We have any? All right, any conceptual initiatives? And no old business, we'll move to new business. 7A, Statement of Understanding between the Sheriff and Board of Commissioner, and this is for final action.
I would make a motion.
Can I say something that in the record, it should say sheriff, under sheriff, and board of commissioners.
Okay.
Do I need a motion to put that on there? To revise the agenda?
No, just if he states the motion that way.
Okay,
That's
all
what
right.
the document says.
Thank you.
Yeah, my motion would be for the sheriff, under sheriff, approved by the board
Okay, do we have a
for
second?
final action. Second.
Do we need a roll call on this?
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Yes.
Commissioner Bohm,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Greatop,
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing.
Yes. All right, moving on to 7B, 2019 pension and retiree healthcare contribution rates.
Make a motion, we send that on to the full board.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just one question, maybe for Carrie. Are those rates the same as last year?
No, they are not. Our rate it's based on a dollar amount each year
Yep.
that the actuary gives us since our plan is closed. Our rate for pension did go down, and the amount it went down by, the contributions towards retiree healthcare was increased by that same amount. Danielle
Okay.
will go over that as part of the budget as well.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to 7C, Administration Controller Proposed 2019 General Fund Budget.
Good evening. Hopefully you've had a chance to review our proposed 2019 budget. Overall, we're not seeing any drastic or unexpected changes for next year. We did budget for a property tax revenue increase of about 2.5%. And we also factored in a Headley rollback. As you know, we just barely dodged Headley this year, and so we've been warned that it's likely going to affect us next year. So we did build that into the budget. One change that probably stuck out to you is the new appropriation to the Indigent Defense Fund. Historically, we have budgeted for court-appointed attorneys in the court's budgets. However, the state has now required us to set up a special revenue fund to account for those costs. So we've moved those line items from the court's budgets into the new special revenue fund by appropriation. If you notice that the court's budgets look a little lower than they have been in the past, that's why. We didn't cut them otherwise. As we were just discussing, the retirement contributions were adjusted for next year. We reduced the pension side by 0.5% and increased the retiree health care side by 0.5%. And that will still get us to our annual required contribution amount for next year. As far as departmental budgets go, we did offer a 2% wage increase to all employees. We are going to see a 5% increase in our health insurance. And we had to address a couple contractual increases for next year. The largest being inmate medical at the jail, which you're already aware of. We had to add approximately $400,000 to the jail's budget next year for that. Probate court is seeing an increase in their court-appointed attorney fees, so we did add $50,000 to their budget for that. However, I've had discussions with Mike McMillan, and he's working with his staff on lowering those costs long-term. We do also have a couple manning table changes that are built into this budget. You heard from Mr. McMillan last month on the need for added security at Marine City Courthouse. We added 2 part-time bailiffs to that manning table, and then in the central dispatch department, we have converted 2 dispatchers to be lead dispatchers. Aside from those items, departmental budgets remain status quo. We didn't make any cuts for operations. Next week, we'll have the public hearing. I'll have the budget available on our website tomorrow for public inspection, and then we will be bringing the special revenue fund budgets to you next month.
Okay, can I have a motion?
Make a motion, send it on to the full board.
Second?
Any further discussion?
Question.
Let him go first.
You or Jeff?
You can go.
All right, Danielle, in putting these figures into the healthcare costs and the retirement money, and you're probably going to laugh at me, but does that help with the liability issue that we are facing there, or is it too small of an increment to really make a difference?
It's hard to say. Dollar-wise, it's somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000 difference of what we'll be adding to the retiree health care side. So will it increase or decrease our liability? I'm not sure, but it'll help somewhat dollar-wise.
The big changes that we've done over the years were big things. This is a small thing, and
Yes,
it couldn't be significant either way, really.
right.
Okay, all right.
Any further questions?
I just want to comment, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. I say it every year at budget time, but got to give credit to Carrie and Danielle, because I was part of the good old days, Howard, where we used to sit down and want to kill each other, you know, through the
wars.
Oh my God, these budget things were a mess. And then kudos to Bill Kaufman and Carrie to originally to be able to put the process in place. And I phoned in, I didn't get one phone call, you know, this time regarding this, and I used to get 50 of them. And so, like I said, congratulations to you guys. And I wish the rest of you guys were around there to witness it back then, 'cause it wasn't fun.
Feel your pain.
So, nice job.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, moving on to 7D, Sheriff Department Manning Table Addition.
I make the motion to move this to the full board. Support.
I had a note here, I don't remember what it is, but what is a Service Bureau agent? Isn't that a position
You
that's
want
in this
Tom's-
report? I don't have
Yeah.
it in front of me.
Oh, Tom is here to address it, if you'd like, or it's clerical type support in the sheriff's office, records and.
Exactly what it is, clerical support. As you know, with the addition, the increase to the millage a while ago, we essentially doubled our staff out there. Now that they've been through a year of training, they're up and running at full speed. They've increased the paper portion of that workload. They've doubled that, so we're looking to increase that work, that staffing, so they can keep up on the reports.
Makes perfect sense.
Any further discussion?
That's too, you should go more in depth than that.
I can stand here and talk for a half hour if you really want me to, but I don't think you do, so.
Call for the roll call.
Yeah, I call for
Yeah. His idea was
Call for the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. All right, moving on to 7E, Resolution 18-24, establishing the per diem.
Per diem.
Yeah, what you guys said. For boards and commissions.
Motion to send it on to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to 7F, Resolution 18-25, waiving investment interest earned.
I move that we send this on to the full board.
Support.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. 7G, Resolution 18-26, 80/20 cost-sharing model adoption.
Make a motion, we send it to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I was just going to comment, the 80/20 cost-sharing method is required by the state of Michigan, so it's pretty
Now that you
straightforward.
passed, you're now out of order.
Okay.
Motion passed. Thank you. All right, at this time, do you have any other Ways and Means Matters? Saying none, information only. I have a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. This time, we need a motion to go into closed session. I'd like to have that motion include adjournment afterwards.
Recess after.
I'm sorry, what?
Recess.
We recess after, because we received the budget. So we can't just close it out until we finish the budget.
You can't close
Pass
this
the budget.
meeting?
To recess it.
Okay. Meant
Trust
for
me.
adjournment after we're done.
Very, Howard's getting technical on us.
Say okay.
Okay.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
That's Robert's.
Motion passed.
Yeah, well.